Kia ora. A couple of days ago, I made a post on LinkedIn about 5 things you can do to be a better Power Platform solution builder. Let's quickly touch on the first one, and that was the advice to not just open up the Maker portal when you're starting to build a solution. The whole idea there is to spend a lot more time planning your solution before you dive in and build. Why would you want to do that? A couple of reasons. One, it gives you a sense of what your application is going to look like in the sense of architecture, not look and feel, before you start the build. And it's also a really good way of showcasing your thoughts and ideas and direction to your development team or your customer. So let's take a few examples of how that would work. Say for instance, I was asked to build an app which was required to do service requests. I should be able to log a new IT service request, and maybe the app is also available to service request agents to view apps or service requests that they have to deal with. What would my landing page look like? Let's assume it's the service agent. When that page opens, I want to have something that identifies me and says, "Hey, welcome Troy," so I know I'm logged in. I might want to have a little picture or an icon that shows where I am as well, because hey, we like pictures of ourselves. I probably want a list of all the service requests that I have to deal with in some sort of order, alphabetical, maybe date. I might want to have a link to create a new service request. I would maybe want to have a link to close service requests or pending service requests. These are all the different type of elements I could have just on my home page. And we're not even talking about what colors it should be or how it should look or what the layout is. This is purely functional. If you finish that low home page functional layout where you know all the elements that you want or what they should look like, then you can start digging down and clicking through and say, fine, what happens now? What happens when I click on the new service request button? Where does it go to? Maybe it goes to a new screen called New Service Request. If I click on one of the service requests in my lists of my to-do list, where does that go to? Does it go to a service request detail page? So that's another screen. What if I then want to update the service request status to show I've done it? What will that look like? Will the form just change on the screen I've got, or will it take me to an update screen? What happens once I've done the update and it's successful? Does it go to a success screen, or does it go back to my original list, but it refreshes it and shows me the refreshed list? So these are all the type of things that you need to ask yourself as you're sketching out your application. So that when you start building, you can build for that already, which saves you a lot of time. Not only will you then have a plan for your build, you'll have an idea of how many screens you're going to do, how many galleries you're going to build, what type of elements you're going to have, and it'll give you an idea of effort that you have to put in. You can easily work out some sort of matrix of a gallery equals to X amount of time for a basic gallery or more advanced gallery, depending if I've got filtering and sorting, etc. So if you're in the professional services world, this gives you a good way of actually estimating effort to actually build the application. It also gives you something you can take to your customer and show as a walkthrough of what you've got and how the application will look and interact. And they can then sign that off or suggest changes, or they might have a few ideas of their own. And third area is, if you are the solutions architect or the person that's not actually going to build the application, maybe you're a part of the business analysis team or the functional team, you can then hand that off to your developers or your builders and say, right, this is what the application is going to do. These are the different levels of functionality. This list has to be alphabetical. That button has to go there, and they can do the build part. And as an intermediary, you might want to hand it off to your UX designer, and they might use those elements, because now they can do the mock-up knowing what's actually going to be on the screen. So I don't have to mock up a fake button. I can actually mock up something that I know will have a specific piece of functionality. So that helps everybody downstream in the build process. So that's a really good way to actually make sure that you have an effective solution build in the Power Platform. And that applies to quite a few other places, including model-driven apps, etc. It's also highly recommended to start looking at some of the online builder tools or designer tools. Things like Canva, Figma are great ways of actually mocking up your designs and mocking up your flow. And the great things with some of those applications like Figma is you can actually hotspot and effectively build a wireframe application that you can hand over to your customer, be it internal or external, and have them click through the application so they get an idea of what the usability is going to be like. So that is the reason why I'm saying don't just dive into the Maker portal, do some planning, and it'll give you a much better result. Cool. Kia ora. Hope you all have a good weekend, and ciao.